Good morning and welcome to the AlabamaWorks webinar series, a monthly webinar designed to provide information and speakers related to the workforce in Alabama. Past webinars are available on the AlabamaWorks website at alabamaworks.com. And now your host, Tim McCartney, Chair of the Alabama Workforce Council.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the December 2022 Alabama Workforce Council monthly webinar. We have a great lineup today with some exciting folks to talk to us, and they're going to cover a lot of ground fairly quickly. So sit down, be comfortable, and be ready to learn. Our first speaker will be Mrs. Sheila Boyington, who's president and CEO of Thinking Media, and she's going to talk about one of their software programs, and I believe a couple of others. Number one being Learning Blade in America, that is used currently in our K-12 schools in Alabama. Following Sheila, we'll have Ms. Samantha Beeler, who is president of the League of Southeastern Credit Unions, and she's going to bring us up to speed on credit unions and how they perform in Alabama. Followed up after Samantha, we'll have Mr. Greg DiDonato, who is vice president of EBSCO, and he's going to update us about the Alabama Talent Triad and the pilot program we're currently having go underway in the manufacturing and healthcare sectors of Alabama. And last but not least, we'll be informed by Mr. Phil Webb, who's president of Webb Concrete Materials, and he's chair of the Alabama Workforce Council Public-Private Partnership Committee. He's going to provide an update on what the committee has done this year and what we've got looking forward in 2023. So without further ado, Ms. Boyington, will you please get us started?
Great. Thank you so much, Chair McCartney, and for having me today. And I'm going to share my screen here. And good morning, everybody. Sheila Boyington, as was mentioned. And I am really excited today because not only am I going to update you a little bit on Learning Blade, but I'm also going to introduce you to our new system that is now available for Alabama called Ready for Industry. This is a great opportunity to really expand and build the workforce for companies in the state of Alabama. Just to give you a little background on our company, many of you are probably in workforce. You might have heard of ACT's Work Keys, the Career Readiness Certificate, etc. Our company was the creators of the national curriculum for that, Key Train and Career Ready 101, that have been used for many years in Alabama as well. And that was acquired by ACT from us a few years ago. We actually have engineering as a background in our company. And so the tools we created actually are designed to further that and to give kids an opportunity to grow. So these are our three sort of systems that we have right now available, really about lifelong career awareness, Career Blade, which are K-12 lesson plans that are now part of Learning Blade starting this year. And Learning Blade, as it was mentioned, we are now in our third year offering computer science and STEM career awareness aligned to all academic standards in the state of Alabama. We had a very exciting milestone that just happened in the last month in Alabama, where we rolled over delivering over 500,000 lessons. We have hundreds of schools that are using Learning Blade very, very effectively. Your career preparedness class and other things are being used. And I love a quote from a STEM teacher that said, Learning Blade has been a lifesaver. There wasn't a set curriculum for my STEM in my school, so having Learning Blade as an asset has made school year much easier. The lessons are simple. The students seem to understand it, how to navigate it easily. That was by Daniel Holt, a STEM teacher at Foley Middle School. Many, many schools using that. But as I mentioned, I really want to introduce you today to Ready for Industry. Many of you, obviously in workforce, are familiar with competency pyramid. And, if we look at this, of course, the gray is your personal effectiveness. People call them soft skills. Don't like that word. They're hard, but that's what they are. Academic competencies are K-12, what you learn, basic reading, writing, math. Workplace competencies are really assessed by the Work Keys system. For us, what it appeared to us is there was kind of a slight layer between levels 3 and 4, where, maybe you have some foundational skills, you have, some knowledge of the workforce, but you really don't understand fully about what you're going to do in your job or maybe even what industry you want to go into. And that is really what Ready for Industry is designed to do. It's designed to provide those essential kind of knowledge knowledge that you need to go into it. So we think of it as answering two basic questions. Maybe you're in late high school and you're trying to figure out post-secondary, what industry pathway do you want to pursue? Okay. But then, or maybe you've already gone to a community college in Alabama and you maybe got your CNC operator training to go into manufacturing. What would be really good information, basic information that your employer on day one would want you to know? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. We chose to start with the 5 highest demand industries in the country: healthcare, manufacturing, IT, construction, and logistics. And we want to remind people we are not doing technical training. Okay. This is not about doing the technical training, and we're not supplanting or replacing anything that's already being done or being additive to that. We decided to design these courses and in a way that they're about 15 to 20 hours long, but they all follow a consistent outline. So what an introduction to the industry, what it's like to work in the industry, some of the terminology and common practices in the industry, along with what are career opportunities, what are some current trends and the pathways, how do you get there, definitely highlighting the opportunities that are available in the state of Alabama. And then lastly, but not least, what are some of the expectations, definitely generally for jobs, but then also specific to that particular industry. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to flip through these outlines very quickly, just so you get some ideas of what are some of the topics that we cover. But if we look at construction, we definitely kind of put architecture in there as well, because again, that's a piece of this. But understanding, OSHA, understanding what green building is like, all of the different things that are coming out today, and helping individuals understand a little bit more about that sort of the ecosystem of construction. Looking at healthcare, again, very, very similar. Healthcare is the one area we had to deviate just slightly because there's very many more terms that are used. So we split that up into 2 sort of modules within the Ready for Industry system. But again, like, what is it like? And I think you can think about this, if you're a doctor versus a med tech, there are some consistent things that when you're working in healthcare, you need to understand. And maybe even some of that is around insurance, because, a lot of times you might get asked those kind of questions when you're in this industry. And so just adding some of those pieces in there. IT, again, very similar. A lot of things we're hearing about: blockchain and globalization, social media, all of these different things that, we live in a digital economy. So most people need some exposure to this, but this is very exciting. And then obviously cybersecurity, a very big focus too. Logistics. I think everybody in the country in the last couple of months have heard about the supply chain issues. So, again, just helping individuals understand what are the different jobs that are in here, all the way from being a truck driver to working in a logistics company where you're working with loads and how to best get those transported across the country or across the world. And definitely, lastly, not least, but manufacturing, which, has enormous opportunities. And again, we're always kind of focused on, 4-year degrees, and these really give opportunities to help students understand better, and clients to actually understand what it's like to work in that industry. So those are the 5. We have a very nice, simple design for the system. It does work on a phone, which is really valuable, because again, that set that we're going after are people that may or may not be in a school environment. And so we wanted to make sure that they could get a robust experience even using their phone, which is different from Learning Blade, because Learning Blade's more in a school setting. This is really more for individual usage. The other thing we're doing is we actually have designed this with a certificate of completion right now. And I'll talk a little bit about what our plans are for our real industry recognized credential in a few minutes. But we have a little quizzes at the end and a 10-question quiz. We have set a passing score as well. And then you are able to earn a certificate of completion. This is not a certification or a credential yet. Okay, so I want to be sure to be very clear on that how this is supposed to be used. For you in Alabama, if you are interested in having an account, taking a look at it, you can go to readyforindustry.com/AL, fill it out, and that account will be sent to you. And then you will start receiving some information on how to access your account, and you can participate in some trainings. Going to talk very quickly about how we're going to be rolling this out, in addition to just sort of introducing it here today. we would be starting at the beginning of in January to really work through the community colleges, the high school, workforce centers, Department of Ed, et cetera. Any state agency will be able to have access to these resources. And then you'll be able to utilize them for either training or additional support for that. We'll be promoting it through these different entities, as I mentioned, conducting webinars. Well, we have this sign up page, and again, readyforindustry.com, not /MO, it should be AL, but definitely you can go there to do that. Once you fill out that form, you will get your organization's login documents. You'll get a quick startup guide and a little bit about what you might need technology-wise. It runs pretty much on everything. So tablets, phones, as I mentioned, and of course, all kinds of desktop, laptops, computers as well. We have a welcome series of emails when you sign up for your account. You will receive, after you sign up, some welcome emails outlining a little bit about what all we cover within the system and how you might utilize it. And then, of course, we provide any kind of Ready for Industry training, just like we do for Learning Blade, that you may contact us at info@readyforindustry.com. We'll set you up with the training for that. And just like with Learning Blade, we will track the usage and provide a report, which is what I just reported to you. We just are doing our mid-year report for Learning Blade, and really excited to see the Ready for Industry. See the courses and actually see that we've completed over 500,000 lessons. We haven't, your students have, within the state. And as I mentioned, we will continue to monitor the data and report the progress. So just to summarize, we have these different areas. Happy to connect with anyone. I did want to introduce you to also who is on the call, but not visible, is Scott Main. Scott is our representative for Alabama. So he lives in Alabama, and he's ready to work with any entity that wants to work on this Ready for Industry or Learning Blade as well, which goes into the middle schools and early high school. And then we pick it up at Ready for Industry at 10th grade and go on further. I did also want to say that, we've been working with University of West Alabama too on their STEM teacher grant that they got, and giving them resources for that. Just give them a little shout out as well. And, just thank you to you, Tim, and to Nick Moore, Dr. Eric Mackey, Dr. Jimmy Hull, all of you that are working on Alabama. Alabama is very well known throughout the country. We work all across the country. I'm actually based in Tennessee, but only about 30 minutes from the Alabama line. And so I'm very close to your state, and really appreciate all that you guys are doing to lead education, lead workforce. We go places, and Alabama is frequently mentioned as one of the states to watch. And so we're excited to work with you on this new effort, and we're happy to take any questions. You can email me directly or email Scott, or email for general information at info@readyforindustry.com. And I think I made my 15 minutes, even less. There we go.
Great. Well, thank you, Sheila. We certainly appreciate all that good information. And as Sheila said, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact her or contact us here at AlabamaWorks, and we will get you an answer and send it back to you. So thanks again, Sheila. Thanks for those kind words about Alabama. And we're trying, but we're trying. So it's a group effort. So look forward to seeing you again soon. And thank you so much for being with us today. Next, we move on to Miss Samantha Beeler. Samantha, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to take a moment here and just start out by saying, hello, Samantha Beeler. I'm the new league president for the League of Southeastern Credit Unions, all of 7 months in, but enjoying moving. And many of you will understand this. I moved from Portland, Oregon to Troy, Alabama. So 7 months has not quite given us the time to adjust, but we are privileged to be here. I'm going to go ahead this morning and share with you a little bit about what it's like to work in financial cooperative services. So I hope everyone can see my screen. There we go. Financial cooperatives, better known as credit unions. There's a bit of a mouthful about what we are and what we do and how we provide value back to our members, our staff, and our communities. So I'm going to share what that looks like. And I'll start, of course, with the cooperative principles. Quick history lesson for those of you who are like, well, I've heard or I've driven by a credit union. I've heard of them for a while, but I'm not quite sure. We've been around for the better part of a century. Our first federally chartered cooperative here in the state of Alabama was up in Muscle Shoals in 1936, but it came down from our neighbor to the north, right up there from Tennessee. So we do have a lot of state charters. Right now, we have 56 active state chartered credit unions in the state of Alabama, which means that they're regulated in the state and they're insured federally still. So why do we call them credit unions? Well, we adhere to the cooperative principles, and saying member-owned, not-for-profit cooperatives was just way too much of a mouthful and wouldn't fit on any sign. And the reason it matters is because as credit unions, we adhere to the cooperative principles. There's 7 of them. There's actually an 8th that's being discussed at the Cooperative International Forum around being more diverse and equitable and inclusive in the work that credit unions do. But these 7 are the current standard for all industries, including credit unions. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means, just so we get a sense before I talk about how credit unions in this state are committed to the workforce, our employees, and through our foundation have rolled out a number of programs to support our workforce. So how do credit unions return value? The first is these 4, or the first 3 principles, and that is that we are owned by our members. So 1 member, 1 vote. We have democratic control. Our board is made up of members in the cooperative space, and then autonomy and independence. Obviously, this gets to the root of each credit union has an origin story of a group of workers that came together and started their credit unions. I think of some of my favorite stories and some of my favorite credit unions to still visit are those who have a drawer on the manufacturing floor, and that's where they put their first 20 bucks all in together to start creating cooperative loans, and have since grown those into some very large credit unions. And yet we still have those who operate out of a church and are open just on Sunday after collection. And that's what works for their members. And so that's how they operate. And I love that story because it's so unique. Credit unions really are unique to those who make them up. And we have, our brand is a wide array of large to small, especially in this state. So credit unions, we measure our economic impact by not just what we put back in sheer dollars into the economy, but definitely what we put back into our teams and our communities. And so you can see in Alabama, that's $2.3 million in indirect economic impact. That number is higher as far as what we return in straight dividends to our those who are members of credit unions. Nationally, that number obviously is a bit higher at 5.3 billion, and there are now 130 million credit union members in this country, which is a very exciting fact for those of us who live and work in this space and are happy to see that cooperative finance is taking off. So cooperating among cooperatives, that is our way of saying the word cooperative one more time, and also highlighting the fact that we really do value partnerships. It's in our nature as credit unions. It's how we do business, is to lean in. And that's why spaces like this are very important to us, because what we're doing for the workforce in Alabama is ultimately helping the community, and credit unions share that same mission. And then our member economic participation. So this is where we see what we do. On that last slide, I said not for profit, but we make profits, and those profits are for our people. And so we are profits for people, and we put those profits into the community. And that's what I love to see. And it also, I will say, for those of you who are, really familiar with the workforce space, and a lot of employee surveys showed in the last 3 years, especially, people wanting to work at a place where they felt was bettering the community, right? We went through some really tough times, hence how we've all gotten a lot better at this platform, Zoom. We weren't seeing people face to face, but credit union staff, we had those on the front line who were still serving the community. And a lot of the feedback they got was, we got to see what we do every day really hands-on serve the community. And I think that makes people want to show up. That makes people not want to silent quit when you see the tears in somebody's eyes because you helped them get their first home loan, or you help them, navigate a really tough credit situation and give them some financial education. That changes people's lives, and it's really fun to be in a space where we can do that. So that's the value. But now I'm going to talk about impact. That's a lot of what this discussion today is focused on. And so there are a handful of programs that I want to highlight for all of you on the call today, and that is through our Southeastern Credit Union Foundation. So at LSCU, we have a foundation that spans our 3 states for Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, but this work is happening specifically today. I'm going to talk about what's happening in Alabama. So credit unions are CDFIs, we're community development financial institutions. We support FISA programs and really encourage all credit union staff to become financial educators and financial counselors and offer that to the community. But one of the things that's really unique about what the foundation has stood up in the last year and a half is a scholarship program to help the next generation envision a future in credit union space. I can admit that I did not go to college to join the credit union movement. It wasn't even on my radar. And so what can we do to help first generation college graduates think about a career in finance in a different way? One of the opportunities that this scholarship has given us is to really get to know these young gentlemen. Right now, we have 2 scholarship award winners for the first year. And as they walk through the conversation about a career in finance, they have shared that they historically just didn't see themselves in finance. They didn't think, that was a space that was really open to them, or that it was something where they could see their more creative side. So one of them's interested in marketing, and he was like, credit unions market. And so we were like, yes, let's put you in touch with some professionals there. So part of the scholarship program, there will be a mentoring component. They will get a paid internship in credit union space. But what we're hoping to do is lean in with other industries and help through scholarship programs do more than money. And that was a big promise at the start of our Spark program, is it was going to be more than handing a check. It's going to be helping them through the college experience, because a lot of first-time they struggle with things that are not just financial. Finances are sometimes the symptom that we see, but they struggle with knowing how to navigate the education system. With when they run into challenges, who do they turn to? Is there someone else in their family who has lived that experience? Probably not. And so they need to go to somebody else, hopefully their mentor through our program, and say, hey, I ran into this issue with my classes or with my career plan, post-college career planning, or I don't know what to do, and really turn to a resource that is there for them, that's really invested in their journey for 4 years, because we are committed to see these gentlemen graduate and find a career. And if it's not in credit unions, we're all right with it, but we hope that they get a taste of it. So that's our scholarship program. It's the Community Spark Scholarship. And we are focusing, like I said, on first generation college students. The other program that we rolled out at the same time as Community Spark was about helping. It's in partnership with Generations USA, and it's about helping upskill workers, right? So this idea that we have people in the economy that need to now bridge the gap from maybe a job that wasn't as high in technical skills, or potentially even member relations skills, and help them learn that. It's a 5-week free program. The credit unions have come together to pay for it completely. And when they go through the course, they do graduate with a certification to be a credit union or financial services expert on frontline and staff relationships. And that's something that we really value, because we know it's those soft skills that can sometimes be the hardest to relearn and reimagine yourself in a place where you're representing the brand. And so a lot of this is the picture that you see on your screen is our first group of graduates. There was not a dry eye. This group was very dedicated to the idea that they are changing their lives through this new skill that they've learned, this program that they went through. And I have to share that one of the stories that really stuck with me was a woman who's worked in retail for decades and decades. She has always been interested in finance and money, but said, because of her background and what she had been through, she didn't think it was a space that was for her, and that she wouldn't even know where to start. She was one of their best students. She graduated with top honors. She's already working at a credit union. Very passionate about the opportunity to help her community and help her community see themselves in financial services, kind of open their eyes to credit unions. So with that, I'll just go on to share the last program that I'm very excited about is this Enrich program. So it's very tempting, even in this space and all of our spaces, to talk about them, right? The community, the other folks who must struggle with money. But we know that's not true. In fact, many of those same surveys that talked about people wanting to work at places where they felt the mission and where they felt they were helping their communities, they also want to work at places that'll help them with financial wellness and financial well-being. Our employees, our staff need that same education. They need that same investment. And because even though a lot of credit unions, actually, we pay family wages. We're, a very great industry for a long time, and how we compensate our team because we're cooperative and we believe in that. But we want to make sure that financial education is not lost. So obviously in Alabama, there's a focus on financial education. We're very thrilled and very excited about that. But at the same time, we're talking about people mid-career making a good amount of money who just were never taught, or even if they were taught in this new economy, what does that look like? And so we've worked with a lot of our credit unions to roll out the Enrich program, and it's actually available for any industry who wants to partner with our foundation. It's to help your staff gain financial skills. It's a really wonderful program. It really helps break down some of the more complex ideas around financial education and wellness, and makes it really employee centric. So it's not about the organization, it's really about them as an individual. It's confidential, and it helps them. They do end up going through the program, they get scores, they can put in their information, they can put in hypothetical information, but it's really to give them the vocabulary and the skill set, and to invest in our employees, because it's very tempting to keep talking about everybody else, those ambiguous people who can't save up $500 for an emergency, right? That's our team members too. And so we wanted to make sure that we are investing in them just as much as we're investing in the community. With that, I talk fast, so I do hope, yep, I made it in under my time, but I appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone this morning. Appreciate to partner with all of you in the work that you're doing to support Alabama and our workforce. Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you, Samantha. We appreciate that great presentation. And thank you for bringing us up to speed on credit unions. You taught me a lot. I thought I did know some stuff about credit unions, but you taught me a lot. So that's great. And welcome to Alabama. It won't take long to get settled. So I hope you find your new home to be one you stay in a long time. All right, our next speaker this morning will be Mr. Greg DiDonato from EBSCO. Greg, take it away.
Thank you so much. Just share here, presentation mode. All right, well, thanks so much for the opportunity here this morning. I know we've been at several of the ACCCP meetings, so I'm going to give a brief update on the talent triad background. Many of you probably have heard sort of the different pieces, but I'll certainly go through that as well as some updates. But I think that's having Sheila and Samantha go first. It's a great lead into seeing what tremendous things are happening, and as Samantha was saying, there's great opportunities to drive upskilling and equity for folks who are looking at new jobs. And that's really what the talent triad is ultimately doing, is making skills a real asset for folks. God bless you. And ultimately, not just using graduation requirements, seat hours as the only mode of opportunity and driving new opportunities and new employment throughout the state. So using skills as a key modality for that. Just the real quick background again, the talent triad is made up of obviously three key pieces or three key user groups. The first is the asset or the digital wallet side. What we're doing is highlighting in a format within the talent triad for students and job seekers to not only apply the credentials for what they have learned in school, but also to apply the skills that are part of those credentials, whether they're verified or self-attested, so that within the triad, the job description generator can match the skills that employers are looking for to the skills that students and job seekers have earned throughout their career, whether in education or in the workforce. So the two tie in together, and the great work that Alabama has done in creating the ontology that will tie that together from a common vocabulary for more than 350 in-demand jobs across the state, across different industries, those key pieces will come together, and job seekers and employers alike will see the matches that are available for them as a new opportunity for hire, as well as new opportunity to gain employment. The third part of the talent triad is ultimately the Alabama Credential Registry. The registry will be the area where where education institutions, training institutions will be able to upload the credentials that they have made available, and then the students or job seekers will be able to pull those down as verified. So all three pieces will work together under one roof. We'll be tying the different programs together as an opportunity, and ultimately be able to see them come to fruition through distribution of more than 500,000 wallets distributed across the state. Ultimately, this will be available to all Alabamians at no charge. It's obviously something that the governor has been passionate about and wants to make available. We'll be releasing the pilot early in Q1 of 2023. We will focus on manufacturing and healthcare, but ultimately, it will be distributed out to all verticals across the state. So looking to connect with folks like Samantha and Sheila to learn about new programs and make sure that everybody gets involved. So where are we seeing these as real world opportunities? One of if you look across the hiring landscape, everybody is talking about how important skills are. The LinkedIn CEO recently just put out an article in HBR talking about really how skills really should be the number one factor in hiring. Degrees certainly will always maintain their importance. Having that as a verified opportunity, a verified learning credential will never go away, but skills need to be a part of that. And that's something that everybody's trying to tackle. The largest companies across the world trying to tackle it specifically. And, Alabama really is leading the forefront in making this a statewide opportunity, really connecting education and workforce in ways that others have not tackled to this point or have failed up to this point. So, again, tremendous opportunity here to lead the nation to be best practices. Just to show really where Alabama continues to lead the way, we've actually been approached by two key real world applications here within Alabama to seek opportunities to be a part of the pilot. The first is Workday, which is a nationally recognized HRIS system. So they're seeing the application for Alabama employers. They want to see how they can become involved either now or down the road, and bringing the talent triad and the skills solution into their HR system. Again, we want to make sure that where folks live today just gets expanded into the talent triad. So whether you're getting a wallet within your K-12 solution or within AlabamaWorks or through your community college portal or your four-year college portal, really it becomes a where do you live opportunity. And for employers, using the HRIS system is a key part of that. So we'll be looking to determine how we can tie that together. And then the folks at Common App also are looking to see, how do they apply skills to the college application process, and how do we look at Common App, schools who are using Common App across the state of Alabama, how do we tie skills into that opportunity as well? So some real world applications that folks are looking to participate just shows the momentum and opportunities that do exist within the state. So again, kudos to everybody on the program, the whole ACCCP solution and the everything that's been built from the ground up. So we want to continue to work with schools, with employers. As a part of next steps, we have a great opportunity. The state was provided a Walmart Foundation grant to not only continue the work here, but to really work with employers specifically to determine what else do you all need to see from the talent triad to make sure that we're meeting your needs. So ultimately the momentum can continue. So we'll be looking to conduct interviews, hiring processes, determine what else needs to iterate within the talent triad, and make that a part of some new reports, some new opportunities that are being funded by Walmart. So we'll look to kind of get everybody involved there. We've also been contacted by some national conferences that are upcoming. One Ed Tech is a specific conference that they've asked for, Alabama employers to participate as a part of a panel. So if you're interested in potentially providing your feedback as a part of that panel, please feel free to contact me, and I can put you in touch with the right folks for that conference. So again, ultimately, this is just something that continues to gain momentum, and nationally, we continue to put forth some opportunities there. Tim, if you think we should run through a demonstration of the talent triad, I can certainly provide that here. If you feel like we've got time.
How long do you think that would take, Greg?
Probably about 5 quick minutes.
Yeah, you've got time. Let's do that.
All right. Let me stop sharing. And let me share here. All right. So if everybody can see my screen on the talent triad. Okay, perfect. So for those of you who haven't seen it, just want to give you a quick update. So right now, the talent triad gives you the opportunity to be both a learner earner or an employer within the same interface. When you come into your wallet, once you signed in, you have the opportunity to view the skills and the credentials that you have earned throughout your career. The skills, when verified, are going to be based on the credentials that you have earned, or you can also self-attest those credentials as a part of your wallet building process. These credentials, again, are going to be pulled down from the Alabama Credential Registry as verified programs within the state that are being offered at the high school level, community college level, four-year college level, et cetera. As you come into this opportunity, you will be able to sync from, as an example, as a ACCS student, put in your student ID and sync up your credential. So now we have 5 credentials in here. And if you notice, your skills went from 35 to 41, and we have new skills that are stackable to these specific credentials. As you go through, you can add credentials in from other programs, whether it be from the military, whether you've been distributed a file that you have to upload on your computer, paste a badge, insert a URL, et cetera. So there's lots of opportunities to sync up credentials and skills that you've earned from outside of any interoperability that we've built into, for instance, ACCCP or ALSDE. Once you have your wallet, you build your profile. We've interoperated with LinkedIn, so you can certainly have one profile within LinkedIn. We'll continue to update that if you update your LinkedIn profile, or you can create one right here within the Talent Triad opportunities. From your profile, you'll be able to build your resume. Now, as I mentioned, your resume really is going to be built on skills and credentials. So your resume will be come right from your profile. It'll come right from the credentials and the skills that you've built from that you've added to your wallet. And all of those will be able to be added or subtracted. You'll be able to have multiple resumes in here so that if you're looking for a career, let's say in credit unions versus another opportunity, you may want to add or subtract certain skills that you feel are more applicable to that opportunity. Once you have that resume built up based on your bio, your credentials, your skills. You'll be able to share that into the Talent Triad ecosystem, and immediately you'll start to see job opportunities that match those skills and credentials that employers have put in on the other side of the Talent Triad, so that the two are connecting together, almost like a Match.com opportunity, and you'll be able to like or dislike some of those jobs that you're starting to see as a part of the wallet and part of the Talent Triad. Ultimately, be able to filter through and start to apply to those positions. But the key here is that on the employer side, we'll be adding job descriptions that are skills-based as well as credential-based. And then those will be matched to the learner earner who's submitting their resumes, again, based on the skills and the credentials that they've earned throughout their career. So really just looking at a skills-based hiring opportunity that will help on the employer side. It'll also help on the job seeker side as folks are looking to change careers or upskill and develop opportunities and be able to demonstrate their competencies within certain areas. So that's a real quick overview, but we're real excited to launch early in 2023. We, again, will focus in on the manufacturing and healthcare side for now, but really we'll look to quickly expand that to other industries once the pilot has come to fruition.
Well, thank you, Greg. That was a very enlightening presentation. Just encourage all the employers out there that are listening this morning or hear this or look at this later on. It's very important that the employers catch up with technology here, because there is sort of an undercurrent of a change of vocabulary where, as Greg mentioned several times, it's a competency-based education, not necessarily sitting in a classroom acquiring hours. We need to acquire the competencies, and that's really what employees look for. You really want the competency in your employee. Doesn't really matter where they go to school. In most jobs, in professional jobs, accounting, lawyers, but those are credentials. They're getting those degrees. So we've got to educate ourselves on what competency-based education is, and then skills-based hiring. We've got to learn to speak the same vocabulary. I know Phil and I had a recent conversation. He's in construction. I was in construction. We may hire for the same position, but we use different vocabulary to describe the skills needed. So we're bringing, as Nick brings it down all the time, he talks about the DNA of a job. So Nick's a whole lot smarter than I am. So, but what I understand him to say is we want to describe the skills that comprise a job. And Phil's job may have 3 or 4 more skills than I have for the same job. But when you get these job seekers learning employment record, their wallet, as Greg described it, and it matches up with the skills on the employer, it's going to be, and I'm stealing a line from Nick as well, it's sort of like a Match.com between employers and prospective employees. And that's what we want. We want to help people looking for work have an easy way to find a job, and the same for the employer. So, Greg, thank you again for your enlightening presentation. Look forward to seeing the program rolling out in 2023. Our next speaker this morning is Mr. Phil Webb from Webb Concrete and Construction and Building Materials. He's the current chair of the Private-Public Partnership Committee for the Alabama Workforce Council, and they do tremendous work. And Phil, take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I just want to say thank you for the presentations this morning, Sheila, Samantha, Gary, Greg. Thank you, Tim McCartney, our wonderful chairman, Nick Moore, and the staff. I just cannot say enough about how excited I am from a small business owner to see the passion and the enthusiasm and the energy to learn about the workforce. I mean, I've seen it just in the past year plus with the public-private Partnership Committee. And just for the ones, kind of a recap, this committee includes private foundation and business leaders. And we have convened over 30 nonprofits from across the state to develop and implement innovative programs designed to address barriers to workforce access and success in Alabama. And, you know, again, it's just what y'all are doing. Very smart people that is involved in this. All of you and everyone I've seen in our quarterly meetings and webinars, y'all are to be commended because you really care. You're changing lives. You know, you're giving opportunity for these people, many people, to find that right job, to make a difference in themselves and their family. I mean, I heard this morning, someone said, you know, we always talk about the time of the year, which is so important to celebrate, you know, Christmas and to celebrate it for the reasons. But this person was saying, you know, we should be a blessing. We should give a blessing rather than want to receive a blessing. And that's what y'all are doing throughout the year is you're using your minds, you're using Nick Moore, Governor Ivy's obviously behind this, supporting it as well. And you're making a difference and you're continuing to make a difference. And I commend you for all of that. And I want to just simply share a few things that and this is basically what I just said right here as far as what is the Public-Private Partnership Committee. And to see some of the business leaders that have been involved throughout the year and to go into a little networking and to go into break off into groups and hear the passion of these nonprofit groups from throughout our state has just, you know, you just want to sit there and say, my gosh, you know, these people that lead these nonprofits and their board and their volunteers, how they're helping these people. And we've been able to help somewhat in the year 2022. And I want to share that. But everyone can see the nonprofit cohort that we've got, correct, in front of you. And we want to do a little work on Region 2 and Region 5, simply because we've got to increase our cohort members, especially in those two regions. We need to get one or two more. But I know several of y'all, many of y'all are on the call, have had a chance to participate, go through, visit some of these places here. I've taken time to go to like Jones Valley Teaching Farm, the Community Works, West Alabama. I've done some North Alabama Works up in Huntsville. It's been eye-opening for me, and in many ways. So we're excited about this. We're excited about our statewide that you see to the right, those participants. And we are looking to add more, not only in the East Central and Central Alabama, but others as well through our statewide. Really proud about this, about the people on our board that have done all of this. I've simply been there to just kind of welcome and et cetera. But we look at their accomplishments, the technical assistance. They supported and did ramp up the work of the public-private partnership cohorts by providing members. I mean, they provided members with professional grant writing support, leading to over $4 million in this year, 22, and that was exciting. As you see under the capacity building, you can read that. But that's $400,000 in grants, and that has been well used. And the community building, we have met quarterly. We've had great attendance. We've learned educational content. We've really wrapped up networking. It's amazing kind of how everyone has kind of gotten to know each other, and everybody's got ideas and sharing it. And we have actually seen success out of these things during the network process. So had our first meeting in person because of the pandemic. We had a great time at Red Mountain Theater. Started at 1:30. We finished up at 6 o'clock. We had breakout sessions to begin with. Then we went into panel discussion, and you can see the ones that were there. The cohort members are marked with a star. That was a phenomenal 2-hour process there. To have those people up at the front of Red Mountain Theater, to hear the questions coming into them, the discussion that they gave, and so much came out of that according to the people who attended. We probably had the whole afternoon, probably 50 plus people, maybe 60. And then we went into a networking of food and drink, and well attended. Most everybody stayed around for that, and that lasted 45 minutes and was well received. Here's what I ask a lot, because I want to know, and I am so uneducated. I apologize, and I will always apologize, because when I was asked to do this, I said, I maybe obviously not smart enough, but I need to know more about it. So I've gotten help, and this is what we've put together: the looking ahead, community building with a focus on action. Pianca and Hallie with Alabama Power Foundation have been a tremendous help. We've worked together on coming up with this. And this is what, in front of you now, this is what we want to work on in 23. And obviously some more as well, but this is important right here. And loving the directory, because I understand that's been talked about quite some time. So that's right in front of us now. We're going to continue to meet on a quarterly to encourage the coalition building and action, as you see there. And we've got to support, and we've got to improve our process, because, again, I've already said it a couple of times, but the state of Alabama is a great state to live, to have businesses of all different shapes, form, fashion, and size, to have nonprofits. And there's people out there in need that we need to help for them to get the right job. We need to be there to be that blessing for these people. And sometimes it is a 2-year college. Sometimes it's a 4-year college. Sometimes it's stepping out of high school and going to work. And there's a lot of good people live in our state of many ages, and we've got to continue to give them that opportunity. And really enjoyed seeing the nonprofits want to partner and work together throughout our state and with the Alabama Workforce Council. So that will wrap it up, other than looking ahead. And this is, as you see right there, this is what we're going to work on, a little more defined. And we've got to maintain that capacity under our grants. We've got to maintain that. Now we've got to get around under the wraparound grant, get away from the COVID, and we've got to focus on this on a monthly basis, and then the technical assistance that you read there. But cannot say it enough. The people that are on this committee and the ones that work with leadership and to see these nonprofits get excited about this and stay this way for the whole year and are excited about next year. That has been very, very encouraging, because it just blows me away how much ideas and their thought process and the way they speak it. And they don't mind sharing things with us. And it's well received and well taken. And we've got a job to continue to build that cohort partnership. So, Tim, that finishes mine up.
Well, thank you, Phil. Great job. Appreciate the update. I can't say enough about the Public-Private Partnership Committee. It does tremendous work, as Phil mentioned, at least 30 nonprofits from across the state. And I'd encourage more nonprofits, as Phil said, we need more nonprofits across the state to join this group. Sometimes, and I learned early on in my chairmanship, there were some people from parts of the state that were a little intimidated about joining the PPP because they thought it was just a Birmingham, Jefferson counties part committee, and it's not. This is statewide, as you can see from the list that Phil posted. We've got people from every workforce region of the state participating, and we need more. This is something that these folks devote a lot of time to helping others, and it's all about helping people, and it all filters down to helping people get services that allow them to go get jobs and get to work and be productive for our state. And that's what it's all about. So thanks again, Phil. Appreciate that. And thanks to Sheila Boyington and Samantha Beeler and Greg DiDonato this morning for the great presentations they did. Look forward to hearing more from all of you. Again, Samantha, I hope your first Christmas in Alabama is a good one. Hope you're staying here. Maybe your family can come all visit you and spend money in Alabama. So thanks for all of you for joining us today. This is our last webinar for 2022. So I hope you all have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Have a great end of the year. We'll see you again in January. And we'll bring Mr. Nick Moore back. He missed today because he had some other assignments he's working on. So y'all have a great holiday season. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everybody.